Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Mr. Pigeon. What we're going to be taking a little look at is a source today from oldschoolhiphop.com. It's the Kool Herc biography. If you don't know who Kool Herc is, we're going to find out right now. 1520 Sedgwick Avenue is the birthplace of hip hop. Did you know that a man named Clive Campbell, who was born in 1955 in Kingston, Jamaica, is the father of hip hop? Why don't you? Kool Herc immigrated to the Bronx in 1967 when he was 12 years old. While attending Alfred E. Smith High School, he spent a lot of time in the weight room. The fact, coupled with his weight, spurned the other kids to call him Hercules. His first DJ gig was at, I should say, his sister's birthday party. It was the start of an industry. 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, the address of Herc's family, and the location of the recreation room where he would throw many of his first parties as the DJ. Herc became aware Herc became aware that although he knew which records would keep the crowd moving, he was more interested in the break section of the song. At this point in a song, the vocals would stop and the beat would just ride for a short period. His desire to capture this moment for a longer period of time would be a very important one for hip hop. Herc would purchase two copies of the same record and play them on separate turntables next to each other. He would play the break beat on one record, then throw it over the other turntable and play the same part. Doing this over and over, he could rock any house in New York. Not to mention it being an early form of looping that would be made easier through electronic sampling. And I'm sorry for the delay. Um, I'm trying to pull up my example. Here we go. Let's see.
One night, I went to the record to play out. I said, I wonder if I put it back to myself. I said, if they're waiting for this particular break and I have a couple more records that's got the same breakup in it, I wonder how would it be if I put them all together. And I told them, I said, I'm going to try something new tonight. I'm going to call it a merry-go-round. Stop the beat.
Herc's merry-go-round meant that instead of playing whole records, he would play just the instrumental breaks, mixing between them to create a continuous dance rhythm.
Stop the beat. I started out with James Brown, clap your hand, stomp your feet. Part right there with the break, boom, I come in with bongo rock. Bongo rock was still no vocals in it, and I would go into Baby Huey, the Mexican. And it was like, whoa, I think we got some hit, because people was like, oh, whoa, everybody was like, yeah, I'm feeling this, oh, yeah.
So that was Kool Herc himself explaining this process that we're reading about right here. He would dig in crates and look everywhere to find the perfect break beat for his parties. He didn't care what type of music because he only needed a small section of a song for his purpose. His first professional DJ job was at the Twilight Zone in 1973. He wanted to get into another place called the Hevelo, but wasn't allowed. Yet, his fame grew. In addition to his breakbeats, Herc also became known as the man with the loudest sound system, or system around, sorry. When he decided to hold a party in one of the parks, it was a crazy event and a loud one. At this time, Africa Bimbada and other competing DJs began trying to take Herc's crown. Jazzy J of the Zulu Nation recalls one momentous meeting between Herc and Bam. Herc was late setting up, and Bam continued to play longer than he should have. Once Herc was set up, he got on the microphone and said, Bambada, could you please turn your system down? Bam's crew was pumped and told Bam not to do it. So Herc said louder, yo, Bambada, turn your system down, down, down. Bam's crew started cursing until Herc put the full weight of his system up and said, Bambada, bada, bada, turn your system down. And you couldn't even hear Bam set at all. The Zulu crew tried to turn up the juice, but it was no use. Everybody just looked at them like, you should have listened to Kool Herc. Finally, his fame peaked, and at last, in 1975, he began working at the Hevelo in the Bronx. He helped coin the phrase B-boy, break boy, and was recently quoted as saying he was the oldest living B-boy. As competing DJs looked to the cut in on the action, Herc would soak the labels of his records so no one could steal his beats. Grandmaster Flash had another story about Herc in his heyday. Flash would go into the Hevelo to check out Herc, but Herc would always embarrass him. He would call Flash out on the mic and then cut out all the highs and lows on the system and just play the mid-range. Herc would say, Flash, in order to be qualified disc jockey, you must have highs. Then he would crank up the highs. They would sizzle through the crowd. Then he would say, and most of all, Flash, you must have the bass. And when Herc's bass came in, the whole place would be shaking. Flash would get so embarrassed, he would leave. After a while, spinning the records got to be an intensive thing, and Herc wouldn't have much time to talk to the crowd and get them going. He needed someone else to help out and act as master of ceremonies for him. And thus, for all the practical purpose, Kool Rock became the first hip-hop MC ever. Another club that Herc Rock was the Sparkle, located at 174th and Jerome Avenue in the Bronx. This was the spot that came before the Hilltop, 371, DJ's Hollywood spot, and Disco Fever. In 1977, Herc's career began to fall. The rise of Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five and Bimbada's various crews with their polished MC styles put Herc at a disadvantage. One night, he was stabbed 3 times at his own party, and his crew never fully recovered. He appeared as himself in the film Beat Street. Kool Herc played his last old school party in 1984. Most recently, he appeared on Terminator's X release, The Godfathers of Threat, and with the Chemical Brothers on their album, Dig Your Own Hole. Similar to Bimbada, he does appear in Europe and New York from time to time. Although he is not part of the hip-hop vocabulary of most of those who listen to these days, unfortunately, Kool Herc is the father of this underground sound from New York that found its way to becoming a worldwide phenomenon. Kool Herc lives on. So we did listen to that explanation of Kool Herc explaining the merry-go-round, all right? And in another video, I'm going to go over the explanation of what the assignment is with this. So see you back soon.